Gerard, you're very keen on local seasonal produce, but that comes from your childhood, I understand.
That's true. Yeah, as a child growing up in Canada, we were brought up in the countryside. So yeah, my parents had a small farm, and yeah, we'd raise chickens and geese, and my father was big into hunting back home. So yeah, he'd generally every fall he'd go out and come back either with a moose or a deer or the wild ducks is a big one. I remember as a kid. Yeah, that I don't know if that drew me towards becoming a chef, but it's just a memory that I have. Dad going out hunting these ducks, coming back and just seeing these things, covered in feathers, and just the process of having, I guess, that ingredient or that they're so fresh, and then Mom would roast them up in the oven with root veggies, from our garden and whatnot, and yeah, we always had to look out for the buckshot as kids, and I distinctly remember like biting into it, and yeah. So, but when you're a kid, we're like, oh, not duck again. It was kind of, we didn't know how good we had it, right? So, and now it's, it's like a premium ingredient, and it's just one of those. Yeah, that's impacted me, I think, at a young age, and it really, to this day, yeah, I always kind of look out for the buckshot, I guess, when I'm eating duck. So
that's really put you in touch, though, with each season and what each season brings. Then,
absolutely, yeah. We were, as kids, we'd always be out in the garden, weeding and just to know where food comes from and how it's prepared, you just gain a certain amount of respect for it, I think, and how it's handled. Yeah.
So you're a long way from home now. So how does a guy from Central West Canada end up in Adelaide?
Well, I came over, in 2000, just to have a look at Adelaide, and ended up here. Enjoyed the city and the lifestyle and what it had to offer as a chef. And it still is. There's so many different aspects of it for a chef. Really captivating. Like the local ingredients. Adelaide's it's like a breadbasket. You've got all these artisanal creators of small goods, cheesemakers. The wine is half decent in this neck of the woods as well. But it's seasonal here as well. You've got your crab in the summer and the spring. Spring lamb. All these ingredients, and it's always changing every year, So you've always got something to look forward to, ingredient-wise, produce-wise.
Your role now as executive chef at Peppers Waymouth Hotel, what's a role like that actually encompass?
Yeah, it's quite a broad role, really. The part that I like most about it is the cooking. I've always enjoyed like the hands-on aspect of cooking and creating, menus, which is great here because we've got a real focus on European style cuisine, which is quite diverse. So, we can borrow from Spain, Italy, south of France, Portugal, then the Mediterranean on the other side. So when you look at all those different cuisines and what they have to offer in the culinary sense, yeah, it's really diverse. So as a chef, that's quite a broad spectrum.
But that must be always a case of balancing between what's in the breadbasket, though, and what you desire to cook.
Yeah, it can be. But I mean, those seasons are, they're there in Europe as well. So yeah, you can always use what's at hand. And we like to put a little twist or a little tweak on dishes and make them a bit, contemporary or use, just an interesting or modern cooking style, like, sous vide or different aspects like that just to bring it up a bit more contemporary approach with our food.
So how many people can you cater for here at Peppers Waymouth?
Yeah, so we're set up here basically to do banqueting for groups of 80, small weddings, for around 60, and then larger cocktail parties for up to 120. So it's quite intimate, our space, what we do. So that allows us to have a bit more of a personal approach with our food. So
yeah, I was wondering that versus a mass production, larger scale venue, you'd actually be able to present something quite personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a bit more detailed in that way. So.
Are you a chef that visits the markets and deals closely with your suppliers?
Yeah, as much as possible. I mean, the central market is only a couple of blocks away from us here in the CBD. Yeah. So if we're ever stuck for an ingredient, we can run there and back in 15 minutes. So yeah, and with our producers, it's good to have that personal relationship. So like our Eggman, I see him, face to face a couple times a week. Just for example, in that way, we're pretty fortunate in Adelaide to have a really good relationship with our suppliers, and a lot of them are, the smaller growers. So it's good that way.
People's palates have changed over time. Does that make your job a lot more difficult in terms of dietary requirements? You know, whether it's gluten-free or nuts or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty commonplace now, I think. So, as a chef, you have to be on top of that, and there was probably a time when that was, wasn't as commonplace. But now, I think it's just a natural sort of progression of cooking for those types of dietary requirements. And if you know about them, they're generally pretty easy. There's lots of different options. So yeah.
Food's a real experience these days, and it's a competitive marketplace. Is the food component of what's offered here an important part of actually winning events?
Oh, as a chef, I'd like to think so. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you use good quality ingredients and you handle them, with flair or technique or a bit of love, they'll always shine. So, even if it's a simple dish and you just cook it simply but with proper technique, it'll present well in the end. So, sometimes the simple food is a good food, and culinary trends come and go. But good food never goes out of style, or simple classical style food. It's always good, right? So,
what for you is success at the end of the day?
Success, having guests enjoy their experience here, getting feedback, and if somebody enjoys their meal, whether it's a steak or just something simple, or if somebody has an event they really enjoyed here, getting that feedback really makes you feel that you've accomplished something and it's worthwhile. So yeah, even a kid, if a kid has a meal or like their ice cream or whatever, it's all good sort of to get that feedback. So that's how you're sort of on track, for me anyway. If you're happy customers, happy guests, then it's all good. So,
well, long may that feedback continue for you, Girard Ramsay. Thanks for giving us an insight to your role as executive chef at Peppers Waymouth Hotel.
Thank you for that.